Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Good morning to you. Welcome to my Facebook page. My name is Tracey, and I'm with Tracey's Fancy, and it's Friday morning here in San Antonio, Texas at 9 o'clock a.m. Central Time. I usually join you guys here for just like a little motivational morning coffee talk and chat to say hello and give you some positive good vibes or something to think about and take with you into the weekend. And we also very often go for a walk. Good morning, Becky Whiting Day. Look where I am. I'm in my bathroom today. Have you finished this? Because this is what I'm about to do. Gator Hide. I'm about to start Gator Hiding my cabinets. And I'm going to talk to them about everything that I showed you and Johnny on Monday night. Hi, Debbie and Amanda and Letty and Diana, Dora. Good morning to everyone. It's so distracting, y'all. Facebook has started to put my own live video. So I'm talking and can see myself and read y'all's comments. But down in the bottom right-hand corner, they've put a little postage size stamp video of me talking again, the whole thing again. And it's delayed. So it's a little behind me. It's really, really strange. I'm not real sure why they think that needs to happen. Anyway, I'm not going to give you a motivational speech this morning. Not because I don't have one, but because that's not where my mind is right now. I need to get this done. And maybe we could talk about this for a second. Matt was just telling me when he left this morning that my list is always too long and that I'm type A and I walk around behind the curve. I think that's what he said. You walk around feeling that you're behind the curve for a list that you made yourself. He's kind of right, but I didn't want to tell him that. So he went to work with me saying something smart like, well, at least I get things done. So we can talk about that. But regardless, I'm checking something off my list because yesterday was my first day to have like an admin day where I could sit and be, like if I went to an office every day and sat at a desk and had a computer and I could be in there. Not that if you're in an office, you're uninterrupted, but you know what I mean? Getting things done and not in the home and pulled. So anyway, yesterday I tried to do that and I had a list of about 25 things and I think I got through about 9 of them. So, he says my list is too long. He doesn't make a list of any kind. Matt doesn't even keep a calendar, y'all. He doesn't even keep a calendar. Good morning, Lonnie and Stephanie and Brigida. Good morning from Portugal. Good morning to you too. So anyway, on my list was to get this finished because it has a great paint job on it right now, but it hasn't been protected and it has to cure for 30 days. So this is sawmill gravy, Dixie Belle sawmill gravy. I'm in my bathroom, my master bathroom. And this has to cure for 30 days before it can really pass a scratch test. And so I need to get a top coat on it to protect it faster. Then you don't have to wait out your 30-day cure time. So I'm going to put Gator Hide on it because I'm in the bathroom. Gator Hide, Dixie Belle has a flat, satin, and gloss top coat that you can choose from, or you can choose from Gator Hide. Those other 3 top coats are good. The less shiny, the less durable they are. The flat is the most natural. The satin is good, super user-friendly. Gloss is high gloss and more durable. A little bit harder to use because of the high sheen. And then... Oh, I didn't, Lonnie. You actually said holla, not hola. I just don't see the difference. Why does an L make a difference? I don't understand. Hi, Michelle. So what was I saying? Oh, they are water resistant. Those other 3 top coats are water resistant. I want Gator Hide, which is actually water repellent because I'm in the bathroom or the kitchen. So, and you have to do 2 to 3 coats to get a really good finish. So that's not what I came on here to talk to y'all about was my Gator Hide because I'm doing Gator Hide regardless. But I thought, well, I have somewhere I'm going today and I have a couple of painting projects I need to get done before noon. So I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take them in the bathroom with me and we are going to do this while we visit. All right. So finally started. Oh, yay, Lonnie, what color did you go with, hun? Tell me what color you're going with. Okay, what I do want to talk to y'all about is this. Are you ready? What is this? What is that? And then what is this? So you're trying to do your paint job, and you're like, I go to the Dixie Belle website, and then there's all these things, and I don't know. And then what's this? And then what's this? It's pretty. And then how about just this? So, oh, Nina, thank you for that. I know what it is. I know that I live in San Antonio, Texas, so I for sure know what Ola is. But I don't understand why that putting it out, one is hala, which isn't even a real word. And so they're making fun of me because one time she put Ola, and I said, hala, Lonnie, hala. And then someone said, she's not saying hala, she's saying Ola, which is totally different, right? Okay, so Pat, these are your painting tools. Exactly. Sterilizer and laundry room with Dixie Belle paint. Hi, Karen. Good morning. And Gator Hide. Yay, I am so glad. I'm so glad you did that. You will love it, and it will hold up forever. I'm repainting this. It had been about 3 years. It didn't even need it, but I was just tired of the color, and it had some stains on it. Okay, so I want to help clarify this for you, and I'm actually going to put one of these to work, or 2 of them to work. All right, so the difference is this you apply something with, okay? This you apply something with. This is actually an applicator sponge. This is an applicator brush, all right? So those you apply things with. These things are used for finishing or while you're painting. So these are tools themselves. This is just a sanding pad. It's by Surf Prep. It's called a rad pad. They come in, I think, 4 or 5 different finishes, different grits. This one, it tells you on the back, is super fine. And this is the sanding side. And the reason these are really good, this is like super fine. It's like 500-600 grit, okay? So the reason these are good to use is because they're like a rag. I mean, you can hold these in your hand and do spindles like someone just did their sterilizers. Karen did, so she could have held these in her hand and done her spindles up and down. They just wrap right around, and they're softer than like a sanding sheet. When you buy a sanding sheet and you try to roll it in your hand or around things, they get like hard cracks in them, and then those hard cracks will dig deeper into your spindles that you're working on, and you won't get like an even sand. This you can wrap around and it doesn't crack, or it keeps it an even sand all the way around. You can also take it where it goes over edges like this. It just folds over really nicely, and it gets in tiny curves. These are great. These are great. Okay, but that's for that. So the reason I'm telling you this is because it's a personal preference, but I get asked all the time. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to do at 9:45 on Dixie Belle's Instagram page a frequently asked questions Friday, and I'm going to answer the question, do you sand between your paint coats? So I get asked that all the time. The honest answer is not all the time. Sometimes. It's a personal preference. Why do you need to? Do you have to? No, you don't have to. You can, if you're new especially, or you're in a rush, you can just paint, let it dry. Paint, let it dry. Put a top coat on, let it dry. Put a second top coat on, let it dry, and you're done. That's all you have to do. But if you want like a really good, as close to factory finish as you can get, if it's going to be a piece that people are going to put their hand on a lot, like in my kitchen, for some reason, people want to walk up and go, oh, you painted your cabinets. They want to put their hand on them. Well, I don't want it to feel rough like chalk. I want it to feel very, very smooth, a super smooth finish. Chalk paint has a texture to it when it dries. That's where it gets its name. It doesn't actually have chalk in the paint. Now, if you make homemade chalk paint, you're probably putting chalk in your paint if you're using calcium carbonate. But if you're using the boutique paints that are like Dixie Belle's, it doesn't actually have chalk in the paint, but it's given that name because it feels like chalk. It feels like chalk on a chalkboard. So it's got that rough finish to it. So if you want to take that rough finish down, you can either wait until you're completely finished painting and do a light sand before you put your top coat on. You will get a much smoother finish. It's sort of like, well, you'll feel it if you do it. Now, I don't always do it. It depends on the project that I'm doing. If it was like my knife block, nope, I didn't sand that before I top coated it. and someone bought it. I shipped it to them. So, I mean, they're going to get it. They're not going to be like, oh my gosh. But do you understand the difference? It's just a personal preference. All right. So when you sand, what do you use? You can use the surf prep pad, depending on what you're sanding. You can use the sanding sponge. This is called a sanding sponge by Dixie Belle. It's got I think it's a 220 grit, so it's much more rough than the surf prep sanding pad, which was a 600 grit. This is 220 grit, and on the other side is a sponge, an actual soft sponge. So what this is also, you could take this and very gently, because it's 220 grit, you could take this and very gently just move it from one side to the other. You don't want to sand like this in between coats. I mean, you can, but it's not necessary. You can just take this and just run it one time, just like that. Doing that knocked off all of the high peaks of my chalk paint, and just from here to here feels completely different. Okay, you can also use this sanding sponge to wet distress. So let's say I wanted to distress around the edges, but I don't want it to look scratchy. Where's my, hold on. Because I had this one distressed before. What you do is you can get this sponge wet, just get it wet itself, because this is able to get wet, and you can just run your wet sponge over the top, get it wet on the sponge side, get it wet, let it sit for just a second so that water can get in there and reactivate that paint. Even if it's been overnight, it will reactivate for you. Then turn it over and use your sanding side and run this over, and it'll just kind of take it off like pudding, and it won't look scratchy like a tiger got a hold of it. It'll be a much better distress look than if you did it dry. I could do it dry right now, but if you wet it first, or you can take the wet and put it all over and then turn over, and you can kind of distress all over if you want. This is my go-to. This right here is let's see, this was the sanding sponge, right? This is called a finishing pad, So this looks like a loofah. It's like loofah material that you use in a bathroom. This is my go-to because it does not scratch your paint at all. It doesn't take off a lot of paint. It literally buffs it down, sort of like using the little, what were those called that you used to use on your face when you're young before you're old and your skin gets super thin and you don't use scratchy stuff on it anymore? What were they called, y'all? Those little pads. Buff puffs. Do you remember Buff Puffs? And they had the facial Buff Puff? That's exactly what this feels like. You know, you get it wet and it would just be like a little buff, but taking off the dry skin or the old skin right off the top. So that's what this does. So you just take this and run it like this. It doesn't sound like sandpaper at all, but it is doing a fabulous job of just smoothing it out. It makes it really, really smooth. Buff Puff, Michelle, exactly. So in this one also, because you don't really see where it's been, you can actually go in different directions if you want. You just want to push it all over. And I'm going very light. I'm not putting a lot of pressure on it. If you do light colors, it's less intimidating. When you are painting dark colors like black or navy, it's very scary to do this part of the process because you can see where you've gone. Like it'll turn your black ashy. It'll make your black or navy paint very ashy looking. The sanding sponges especially will. The surf prep especially will. This one is less. So this is less scary. So you just take it like this. I've done it way too much. Anyway, feels great. Feels totally different than this side. Feels super good. Then I just take a microfiber cloth, and I just go along and I just pull off whatever dust residue was on there. That's it. That's all I do. Now I'm ready to top coat. Okay, that's just a dry microfiber cloth. Now, because if I were gonna use flat satin or gloss top coat, I could have this be a little bit damp. Like if I'd used a damp rag, lightly damp rag, not worried about it because they're water-based. Gator Hide, you don't want to cross with water. Gator Hide it's water repellent, guys. It's going to fight with water. So you want to make sure your brush is completely dry. You want to make sure your sponge is completely dry of water. neither one, no water on them, because if they are wet and you go to put your top coat on, if it's a dark color, you may end up with like a little bit of clouding because water got trapped in there. So you want to make sure that things are dry. Hello, Miss Sarah from Australia. Midnight here, but I can't stop listening. Oh, do I need to talk softer? A lot of people tell me that they listen to me to go to sleep. They'll watch my videos and listen to me to go to sleep, which is crazy because I feel so hyper all the time. I can't imagine that would be what people want to hear me talking while they're trying to go to sleep. So Sarah, I hope you have a wonderful night's sleep. Let's see. Janet, I started 2-ish years ago trying to build side hustle business. Were y'all talking, Janet, back and forth? Varnish the transfer. Oh, y'all are just talking amongst yourselves. I love that. So you only use that one alone and it leaves it smooth. Yes, Audrey, are you asking me about this? This is my go-to to do that right before I put my top coat on. Okay, so what do I use to do my Gator Hide top coat? Now I'm going to use those applicator tools that I told you about. Remember this one? And this one, or this one. Oh, sorry, this one. So I'm either going to use a brush, or I'm going to use, they call this actually the Gator Hide sponge, but it's a blue sponge, or I'm going to use my applicator pad. It depends on the piece that I'm using, putting it on. That's what it depends on. What I will tell you is, if you go to get any of these products and you follow my link to go over there, first of all, don't think you're going to go over there and just buy one of these, because if you do, you're going to pay a lot in shipping. Dixie Belle shipping drops to $10 when you order $50 in product. And all these items are like $2 and $3 and $4. Okay, so they're very affordable. These you get 2 in a pack. They're very affordable, but you need to put it in with some paint order or a couple jars of Gator Hide or something like that so that you get a good shipping price. Okay, so let me tell you about my brushes. If I were going to use a brush, these are the same brush. These are the same brush. This is brand new. This one's been used 5 zillion gazillion times. Okay, see how well they hold up? Look at the shape of the bristles, right? I mean, barely any difference. You see that? I think this one's been used a couple of times. And this one's been used a bunch. So the brushes hold up well, although I know they're not available right now. So the reason I'm showing you this is I keep a brush that I only use for Gator Hide, or finishes really, that I only use for finishes. So that's this one. It's never had paint on it. This one has paint on it. And even though this one's cleaned really, really well, it's super soft. But where the paint has been left on the bristles, I didn't go in and like super scrub all of that. It's still very soft, but it separates the bristles a little bit more. And I feel like I get a smoother and more silky finish with one that has no paint on it. So that's what I use this for. Okay, I'm going to go with, if it's a super flat surface, very, very flat, I use this applicator pad for my Gator Hide, especially if I'm doing like dresser tops, the top of a dresser. This is what I use. So I get something flat like this. This is a lid to a Tupperware. I open my Gator Hide and I pour it in something that I can dip my applicator sponge in, as it's a rectangle. So I pour this in and I take the sponge and I push it straight in just like that. I let it soak some up and I lift it up, and Gator Hide's on here. And then I would take it here and I would start on one side and I would very lightly just push to the other side, just like this. I would put my Gator Hide on just like that. Now this one's got a little crack in here. I might have to go first with the brush and get it in those tiny little cracks between the drawer, set my brush aside, dip my applicator pad, and start from left to right, and then do the upper area, just like that. Okay, same thing with this Gator Hide sponge. I'm not as fond of these, but they do work. I just really like the applicator pad. So sponge, same thing. I put it in here. I dip it straight in just like that. Lift it up, come over here and put it on and just go straight. What I don't like about this as much as it's round, and I don't like that it leaves a rounded edge. I don't know why, but I'm going to use it with y'all anyway. I'll use both. So I'm going to do a row of both. So I hope that clears up for any of y'all Are the okay, no, they're not. So this applicator pad, if you let Gator Hide start to dry on here at all, and Gator Hide sets up fast. So have a bucket near you if you're working and you can't get to a sink. But the top coats are different. But if you're using Gator Hide on the sponge, this one has been used before. This was a Gator Hide sponge. So let me tell you what I do. You get to a sink, rinse it out really well, wad it up, rinse it up. If it's paint, you can use it over and over and over. But Gator Hide, you have to do it fast. If you don't get to it fast, it's going to dry and get hard on one side. So rinse it out really, really well. Soap it. Put lots of soap in it. Rinse it out. And then you can throw it in your washing machine, or you can even put it in your dishwasher. This one went through my washing machine. It's super soft. All right. Good question, though. I always spray water on my pad first to dampen the pad. I don't, Stacey. I don't have good luck with that, and it doesn't make any sense to me to do that with Gator Hide. Because it's water repellent. Top coats, yes. But if that works for you, Stacey, and you have good luck with that, go for it. But there are so many ways to do this. You can use any tool, any process that you got that if you're experienced and it's working for you, that's good. I just feel like it leaves room for some cloudiness and some hazing. So as I tell lots and lots of people online what I do, I want to be super confident that that's not going to be an issue, and you aren't going to get hazing or cloudiness if you do it with no water on your tool. Okay, so can y'all see that door? Okay, y'all can't see me, but you can see the door. All right, so I am putting my Gator Hide. I've already, I've started pouring it in here, my little dish, just like so. Poured it right in my dish. And then let's use the sponge on the top row. So here's my sponge. I'm going to dip it straight in this dish, just like this, and lift it up. And I don't even scrape off all that excess. I just twirl it around until it's on here. Hold on. Let me get this open. It's so funny that I will not go do what I've got to do today until I get this done, because otherwise it's going to end up getting messed up, and then I'm going to be mad because I didn't get my top coat on. Okay, so here we go. Now, you can go ahead and, because we're doing a light color, you can pull from one side to the other. But you just don't want to do it too many times. I'm going to do this top. You don't want to do it too many times because it starts to set up really fast. So here we go. Here's my last run. So it starts to set up really fast. I'm going to turn that edge and get in that, see if I can get in that little corner here. Not corner, but in that. Okay. All right, so let's do the next row, and then I will use the pad. So here we go. I'm going to go ahead and get that little edge down there first. You can go different directions. You can go back and forth. Just make sure that your last one is from one side to the other. And it's very light. I'm not putting any pressure on here at all. Okay. All right, so I'm going to set that aside, and I'm going to use my applicator pad just to show y'all. Same thing. I'm just dipping it straight into this lid that I've got this poured. Just like that. Here we go. Put it down here. Same thing. I can go one way or the other. The good thing about the sponge is you don't get any on your hand because your hand is so far away. Your hand is so far away. So that's the good thing. All right, so that's that. And then I'm going to do the sponge again down here. And we'll see if there was a difference between the applicator pad application and the sponge application. And that's it. You can already see where it's starting to dry. It looks streaky, and that's the thing that really, really throws people about Gator Hide is it starts to look streaky really quickly. So by the time they've done this part and they get down to the bottom and, you know, it still looks all nice and wet, and then they look up finally at what they've done up here, and the reason I'm going back over this down here, guys, is I had a drip. And then they look up at the top, and they're like, oh crap, it's streaky. I left it streaky. Well, the thing is, it's because it's drying. It dries in streaks. It looks very streaky. So they'll go back up in here and try to fix their streak. And then it's already started to set up. So they'll drag across it. And they're going to take that top layer with it. And it's going to make like a smudge or a drag mark. And then they're like, what the heck? It's all gummy. It's gross. I hate this stuff. I don't like it. Well, it's really good stuff. But you shouldn't have gone back in. Don't go back in. Control your urge to go back in. You've gotten away from it. Don't go back in there. Let it dry. Let all of the streaks dry out, because they will. Then when it's dry to touch, which doesn't take very long, let the light shine on it. Stand off to the side like this. Like get off to the side and look and see if you've got now that it's all dry. Do I have open areas that I didn't cover? And then you want to go back and make sure on your next pass that you get those areas covered really well. Okay? So weird that we're having a paint talk, or not a paint talk, but that's Dion's thing. It's so weird that we're talking paint on a Friday morning, right? Okay, I've got a little bit on my edge over here, so I'm going to go ahead and do this side because I don't want that to be. I got a little bit on this edge, so let's go ahead and do. So that's that. So that's 30 minutes. I hope you guys find that helpful. All those little tips. Don't be confused when you go over there and you shop. That's where I made my mistake. Yes, Tammy, there is no touch up in Gator Hide until it's fully dry. I mean, you have to be really, really used to using it. I'm comfortable when like on Monday night, my friend Becky was on at the beginning. I'm so comfortable using this product. So I can tell when it's already started to set up. I know my timing. So sometimes I'll go back in, and they were watching me, and I was trying to make myself not do it because I'm like, they're going to emulate me. And if they are watching me go back in, they're going to want to go back in, and they're going to have waited too long, and then they're going to end up with smudges. So do a pass. Do not go back. Watch for drips. Baby said it. Watch for drips. If you get a drip, be sure you have a tiny little artist brush with you, and just take your brush. Like if you're starting to get a drip, take just the corner of your brush, but use like a little artist brush. Just the corner, and go like that and kind of dab your drip up. I mean like light, like this. And let the bristles of the brush soak that drip up, and then walk away from it. Okay? All right, so I'm going to let you guys go. I'm going to keep going because I don't want this to start setting up in my sponge. And in 15 minutes, I'll go live over on Instagram, on Dixie Belle's Instagram as well, okay? I know, Melissa. It does feel that way. I mean, we felt like family. Hey, Melissa, I had that necklace on that you gave me the other night. Did you notice? I forgot to mention that to you. I was wearing your necklace in Wednesday night. Was it Wednesday night's video? I didn't know if you noticed. I love it. Okay, guys, it's Johnny's cabinet looks streaky. If you say if Johnny's cabinet looks streaky, as in Johnny's cabinet looks streaky, the one he was saying, I got my own technique back. I got my own technique. And I was like, oh, can I sandpaper it? Yes, you can. So that sanding block that you had, Becky, just do like we did. Just start from the bottom of the top. You had that sanding block. Just sand it back and then wipe it back with a microfiber rag and start over. He wasn't listening to the top coat, and it was the worst time for him to not listen. He was such a good student until then. And Becky was like, Johnny, this is the finish. This is the finish. And he was all like, I got my own technique, Beck. Oh, I was dying. Oh, Ludmilla, thank you so much. Before second coat of Gator Hide. Yes. You need to sand back that. You probably need to sand, not off his Gator Hide, but you need to break through his Gator Hide that he was going crazy with. Yeah. I'm doing that now. Okay, sweetheart, good. If you have any questions, text me. Okay, guys, I'm going to do a little bit more and then do this again in a few minutes. But I only stay live on Instagram for less than 10 minutes. It was his wine. He said that too. He said the wine's talking. The wine's talking. It was a drastic difference. Like, we always call alcohol, wine, beer, liquid courage. But Johnny got some serious liquid courage. It hit within about like 20 minutes. He got liquid courage at the wrong time. God love him. Okay, guys, I'll see y'all next Friday, or I'll see y'all before that. Y'all know that. But love you all. Y'all have a wonderful weekend. Have a good weekend wherever you are. Okay, love you guys. Bye.